loaded on up. So introducing our players spawning in the top position for Team GP. Give it up for Ryung. And his opponent down here in the bottom. He is Team Envy's Bunny. And already we're seeing a little bit of a non-mirrored matchup, as we do have Ryung going to be going for that double gas build very early on. And what I like about this build is it allows you to be very aggressive early on, because you're going to use that extra gas to get that factory up much quicker. And since Bunny is going for the CC first, that's going to put him behind in terms of that. And look at that, actually going to make a little bit of a star there. That was really cute. Looks like Ryung is going to be able to hide this for just a little bit longer as well. Never mind, because the factory is scouted by Bunny. And that, while it doesn't necessarily bring out alarm bells, it does tell Bunny that he has to be a little bit more defensive. Because he is going to be falling behind in terms of that Reaper count. So you're just going to have to make use of that high ground, force Ryung to attack into you instead. And you can kind of see Bunny making the decision not to go for that second Reaper just so that he can get the factory out just a little bit quicker. Even going to throw down a bunker. I don't want to say it's bad, but that is an extra 100 minerals that you could be utilizing elsewhere. I don't think it's the most effective thing, especially since you did leave the Reaper wall completely open for them to jump into. But you know what? I digress, as we do have two Reapers and a Hellion out ready to, it looks like, play it a little bit more defensive. Not going to go across the map with it. Behind this, however, we do have that one Widow Mine coming on down. And I think I saw this actually on day 1 for Ryung. Basically, he gets that first Widow Mine to stay safe. And then he can push out with that first Cyclone. Just go into, you know, maybe about 4 or 5 Marines. And just try and poke a little bit. But you also set up the possibility for that drop for the Raven play. Keeps you safe with that first Cyclone. Just making sure that that Raven can't get behind your mineral line. Now Ryung going to be making his way out onto the map for the first time. Pick us off one of the Reapers. I like that Widow Mine position, but I think you're going to have to reposition it now that it has been scouted. Gotta take a look at it as well. Bunny does not have that third base up, but Ryung does. And with the Raven, with the Marines, with the Siege Tank coming out, do I sense a little bit of aggression from Bunny? The answer is no. I'm just trying to hype it up. He does throw down his own third CC. So yeah, not really too much else to say about this stage in the game. We are going to see these little kind of expeditions out onto the map for Ryung, just kind of making sure that he's aware of any sort of move out. He's not really committing a lot to them either, just a couple of Cyclones with the Hellion in front to soak up any sort of Siege Tank attack coming out. And yeah, there you go. He gets the pick off. He comes on home. Kind of interesting the way that Bunny is positioning his siege tanks right now just to kind of take care of that one Hellion. I think you got to be a little bit careful because that can leave you a bit exposed to the Cyclones. I don't even know if he's on the high ground with that. Because the high ground can actually be very finicky on this map. I've learned that the hard way. Yeah, there you go. Ryung gets the confirmation that this move out is coming. There are 3 siege tanks and a good number of Vikings. Scan going to go down, revealing the amount of production that Ryung does have. Bunny playing it very safe with that siege up. I don't know about that. He's going to have to get something done, however, because it is going to be mech out of Ryung. And if you don't kind of slow this down, it can snowball very, very heavily into the meching player's favor. Cyclone's going to try and get a couple of pickoffs here on the Ravens. Really wants to focus fire that down. Those are the big money makers for him, as that will be allow him to shut down that wall of siege tanks at the 3rd base. Alright, just really trying to position himself well for this engagement. Gets one of the Cyclones. That's a very nice start to this. Gonna get right on top of the high ground as well. But the question is, does Ryung have enough to kind of hold on into the air battle? Taking a look at the unit count, it is 8-7 with those 2 Ravens. But Ryung does have that defender's advantage. And, I mean, Bunny's just kind of rotating around. He doesn't really have that angle that he's looking for. Does get a Viking kill. That's pretty nice. Good start. Good start. But I really feel like the window for Bunny has closed for this attack just because he has been a little bit hesitant to move in. A big run by going to be coming in from these 2 Hellions. And there's nothing at home to defend it, so they will get a couple of good shots. Not focus firing down that one big line, though that would have been nasty shot off for Ryung. But he'll settle for 3 workers in the end. So a couple of things that Bunny really has to keep a hold of right now. He's got to keep some sort of lead in terms of those upgrades just to make sure that his units hit hard enough to deal with this. But here we go. Okay, never mind. That's Bunny units coming back. I don't know why I thought they were Young's. But yeah, you need to get those upgrades in. You have to kind of play around this less mobile army, as we can kind of see Ryung's going for not battle mech, just normal mech. And you have to keep that air control. That's the most important thing for you, more than anything else. Scan's going to go down, revealing the 4th base has been dropped. Bunny's own 4th base is going to be following. So that's why he's putting on the pressure right now, keeping Ryung at home, because he needs to keep this army away from that 4th as it turns into a planetary. So starting up the fusion core, Bunny is completely maxed out. Looks like Ryung has seeded the air battle just a little bit, going to be getting the Thors, and that tells me that he doesn't think that he can get enough Vikings to challenge the superiority of Bunny. It's a pretty good move because obviously Vikings can't shoot down. You have to land them before you can really do anything with them after you take down these Ravens and Vikings of Ryung. We do see both sides doing a pretty good job as well of keeping up with their production, with their expansions. I think Bunny's just doing it just a smidge better. Kind of taking a look at the count here. We've got 3 orbitals and 1 planetary for Bunny. The same number on the other side, but we only see 1 being made for Ryung. Remember, he's going to be very gas starved here, and as his bases run out of that gas, he's going to have to go further and further for each one, and that's going to really give Bunny the opportunity to run circles around him, forces the siege up here on the low ground, but he has no obligation to attack in there. I gotta say, if we get 1 more sensor turret right there in the middle of the map, then we'll have the Olympics. But hold that thought as we get the Dorito dust settling all over this. The Dorito dust for Bunny not going to be as good, and he actually gets decimated here by that siege tank fire. He is forced all the way back. We'll get 1 additional Thor for his troubles, and he does keep control of the air. Kind of taking a look at that. He still has the Viking count advantage, but he can't really engage on top of the Thors anymore, and it's going to be a little bit before he can rebuild this army. Looks like he's going straight into 6 Liberators to try and get back into it to keep those siege tanks away from him. A small bit of a drop, going to be cleaning up some of these SCVs as well. Just got to keep the gas from flowing, but his own production is under fire. Does he have the upgrade? He does not have Liberator range, so they're going to be in range of those Thors. And as you can see, the Vikings just taking a lot of this firepower. He's sieged up on the low ground. And the scan going to go down. That's enough to take care of the Liberators. And we are not necessarily in a base trade situation, but yeah, there you go. Ryung taking the first game there. It looked a little bit for him there. But that's the thing about mech. You just want that one good engagement where you absolutely crush your opponent's army, and then you can have the entire map to yourself. I think that's kind of the best way to put it. There's nothing really that Bunny could have done there after he lost that army. And what will map number 2 be? Going to refresh the page a little bit, see if I can get some more in here. So I'm not 100% certain. I think it's a loser's choice, but I don't really have the rulebook in front of me, so I cannot confirm that. But yeah, there you go. I think the next player to be coming out will more than likely be special, so another TVT. But the difference between the two is that a special does have a little bit better handle on mech as a whole. He does kind of mix it in there sometimes versus Zerg, versus Terran. So I've never seen him do it versus Protoss. I don't think anyone really does it versus Protoss these days. But still, I think he's going to be able to kind of keep up a little bit better than Bunny was able to, because Bunny didn't really do any damage. He didn't play around the slower mech army There were no drops. There was no double prong harassment. There was pretty much just not much. And it looks like they're actually going to be sending out the big guns. Trap will be our second player out for Kimchi Won. So forget everything I just said. Okay, PVZ or PVT. That's a much. I haven't seen Ryung's PVT recently, so I'm gonna have to defer to the fact that Trap is obviously a god at TV or PVT. And you know what? Let us introduce these players spawning in the top position of Light Shade LE. He is up 1 game and looking to get the all kill. He is Ryung. And his opponents hanging out in the bottom. Give it up for Trap. And obviously, talking about Trap, he's that guy who, even when Protoss were struggling, even when they were having so much trouble staying alive in these tournaments, he was the one who showed them the way forward. He said, "You throw whatever you want at me. I'm going to take it and throw it right back at you." Especially with like his super tournament win all the way back then. He did very well in IEM. And yeah, I think this is one of his better matchups just statistically, because he can be a bit aggressive. He can kind of force you to play his game where you might not be as comfortable. Yeah, right now we do see he's just being a little bit of a nuisance. Just going to deny that I can't count. Sorry, it's very early. But the natural CC for a little bit. And, you know, Ryung, to his credit, he gives himself a little bit of room, sees the Nexus going down, so he knows that there's not anything too crazy just yet. Looks like we're going to have a 3 racks come out. And Trap, if he gets information on that, that's going to really sound the bells of war, because once you see 3 racks, you know you can be a lot more aggressive out there on the map. And already he's going to be going for a bit of aggression with that Twilight Council. That's going to allow him to get that early blink. We should see how many extra additional gateways he's going to be throwing down with it. If he only throws down 2, goes up to 3 gate, then it can be a bit more defensive. But if he goes up to 4, whoa, Nelly, then the floodgates can open very, very quickly. Already a couple of SCV kills to start things off. He had to pull quite a few of them, so that's a lot of indirect damage as well. Has to get out of there before that bunker is finished, but the Adept can still shade and force these units to remain at home. Looks like Stim is started as well. So that puts a little bit of a timer here for anything that Trap wants to do. Once that's finished, you can't get in there with Blink anymore. And unfortunately, he hasn't seen this, so he's still a little bit in the dark. So now Ryung kind of just getting this power up move out here with a couple of Marauders with a ton of Marines. This could be pretty bad for Trap. Does he have a shield battery at the front? It doesn't look like it. But it looks like Ryung's going to take a little bit of a longer path around just to make sure that this doesn't get scouted, essentially. He still sees the bunker up. And that can be a pretty big indicator that an attack is coming if you see that bunker is not there. The observer as well misses a lot of this, but I think he sees the reinforcements coming in. And now first big stim comes on down. First Stalker does fall. But very wise, Ryung going to back off. Remember, he doesn't have any semblance of healing with this. So every single time he stims, his army is just going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. These Stalkers already have Blink, so they can get the pickoffs as well on the retreat. So Ryung not going to risk these units. He's going to send them home and go up to his next stage of this game. Colossus coming in. Trap looking for a little bit of an angle to breathe. Sends those 4 Stalkers in. He might have to recall those out after getting those 2 SCVs. Yeah, that is perfect for Trap. Doesn't overextend. He's just kind of repowering himself up. He had a little bit of a scare there. Was worried that he might not have enough. But now he's got Colossus. He's got Charge on the way. And Ryung, he's behind on the tech. His first medevacs just now popping out, so they're going to have to re-heal this army, and that kind of cedes control of the map to Trap. And you can see what he's doing with it. He's going to get the double forge out, just start up the upgrades. He doesn't really need to engage into Ryung right now because that third base is still not down. And that's something this observer sees very, very clearly. Now Scan going to go down, revealing the tech choice. Ryung looks like he wants to try and regain a little semblance of control in this. The observer, though, sees pretty much everything. The move out, and now Trap is in position to cut this off. There's a lot of force field energy here, but they are in a very open area. Now, I don't know if that was the best position to try and engage with those force fields. Good blink back. Gonna save that Stalker. Get some medevac as well for the cost of 1 Stalker. I think that was definitely worth it. Now Trap is on the warpath. He doesn't have a reinforcement point with this army, so can't engage too far forward, but it looks like he's going to press his luck a little bit. Gets a couple of really good splashes all over this army. He's just going to keep this rolling. He's in a bit of a soft contain. SCV's being pulled, but the force field's going to keep the rest of the army away. The Vikings shooing as much of it as possible. But now, Trap smells that blood in the water. Ryung is down to 86 supply. And in a very clean-cut victory, Trap will take that game, and he will move on. Ryung is eliminated for right now. So we're not going to have another 3-0. That's always a good day when we get some good, solid series under our belts. And yeah, I mean, you still have a couple of pretty good players left for the reserve forces. Obviously, I think ARMANI might be the better option here, but You know what? My gut is telling me that they will be sending out Dream. Let's just figure it out because we are on Submarine for map number 2. Yep, called it. The second you see Submarine, that's when you know that it's going to be a Terran player coming out. And you know what? Let's see if he can pull it back. Trap is obviously a very tough opponent to deal with, but Dream is one of those players. He is so annoying to deal with. And the big reason that I say that is because, you know, he's the one who invented that really big medevac Widowmine style where you just get the armory very early on and then you try and drop your opponent to absolute death. Will he be able to crush the defenses or will he falter? Let's find out. As spawning in the top position of Submarine, winning that last game and looking to finish the series for his guys. Give it up for Trap. And his opponent down here, the challenger. For Good Game Gaming, he is Dream. And obviously the short rush distance on Submarine opens up a lot of avenues for how this is going to go. We already see Trap getting down both assimilators before even getting a Nexus. And that tells you pretty much everything that you want to know. There's a good chance he throws down a pylon very aggressively on Dream side of the map. Maybe he throws down a bit of a Max Packs build with the second gateway. But whatever he decides to do, this is a very aggressive pylon positioning. And it looks like Dream's gonna get the scout. That is... Does he see it? Okay, yeah, he sees that. And now the question is, does Trap commit? Looks like he's not going to go for the gateway. He might have just been wanting to go for Stargate. There's a couple of different things that you can do with that, obviously. You can go into that big shield battery, overcharge, Void Ray, 360 no-scope, elite status. Or you can just build a couple of oracles, go in, and, you know, never use it again. Likewise, whatever you decide to do, we do have Dream dropping down that second CC in the main base, just making sure that that stays completely safe. And, yeah, Trap is going to shut down this Reaper however he can. It's Void Rays, ladies and gentlemen. So a couple of things that Dream needs to do. He needs to not only recognize this, he probably wants to throw down the reactor pretty soon. He's going to need plenty of Marines to help buffer, and he's also going to need the Cyclones. I think those are the two most important units. I don't think Vikings are going to save you in this situation, just because they're not really able to kite as well as you might like. And look at that. The wall isn't even complete, so those adepts going to be a huge issue. The bunker is not going to finish just yet. Focus firing down a lot of these weakened SCVs. Oh my goodness, this is pretty bad for Dream as things start off. He doesn't even need the shield battery yet. He starts up Magfield Accelerator, but as you guys know, that is one of the longest upgrades in the Terran arsenal. I think it takes about 100 seconds before that gets finished, and he's already lost 6 workers. The Marine count has plummeted to almost 0. He gets a good lock on that first Void Ray, so that will go down. A bit of a mistake for Trap, but still taking so much damage. And he will be losing these depots. There is absolutely no second thought about that. Might get the shield battery, though. That's a really good start to this defense. Kind of taking a look at the worker count here. Trap is ahead only by 2. It looks like Dream is still finding the ability to kind of squeeze out one or two here and there just to make sure that he doesn't lose it. The Phoenix coming in, gonna try and get a lift off. Those Void Rays are getting so low, and he loses one of them. The second one, very close to going down. A very big blunder from Trap. Oh my gosh, that was bad. Now with Magfield Accelerator on the field, he's got 3 Cyclones. The third one about to pop, and you can see the difference in damage. It just absolutely tears through the shields and tears through the armor of that Void Ray. The Phoenix going to do what it can to get the lifts off, but there's just way too much firepower here for this to keep working. So he's going to have to transition out of it, and his Nexus is only about halfway done. Yeah, even getting supply blocked is a huge deal. He can't even afford to throw down a couple of additional pylons. We do see the Void Ray is going to be dancing around this location, just trying to get a cheeky pick off on those Cyclones. They do get away for the meantime, but you know, Dream does have the ability to counterattack anytime he so chooses, because Trap has put so much energy, so much investment into this rush. He's not done, by the way. He still needs to buy himself time to macro out of this. We still see he is putting out probes. He's trying to catch up. Chrono boosting him out as quickly as possible. And now we see the Stargate going down. The Stalkers catching a bit of this out of position. The Phoenix do get some good liftoff, so a lot of these Cyclones will go down. Dream, I think he overextended just a little bit. So now he's going to have to get back with those Cyclones in order to survive this. The Void Rays did go down, so that takes out a lot of power from this push. But, alright, he does get the clean. He does get the repair on those, so that will save him for right now. But in this situation, I think Trap is going to have to be a little bit tricky in order to win it. And tricky he shall be, trying to get that, you know, that Stargate coming back up. I think Phoenix are going to be your best option because they can take the Cyclones out of the fight very easily while your Stalkers blink underneath. And by the way, he does have that Twilight Council down for charge. Okay. I like that a little bit better, since that siege tank count is going to be a potential hazard for Dream's units now. First pickup, Cyclone goes down. The repair not in time. Doesn't want to. You can't lose the Phoenix for it, though. That's a really bad trade. I think the Phoenix are really the only thing keeping him alive as he sets up for another big push into the natural. We've got the transition down. We've got the Templar archives. We've got Archons going to be on the way, but You know, Dream is looking pretty well set up defensively. Might even just decide to go for that big push and kill Trap before he can build up. Gonna take a look at everything that's been lost in this one. Very even, but those Void Rays, so important. Good lift off on the Widow Mines. Takes a couple of shots from the siege tanks, though. Dream going to be able to establish this third base without too much issue, I want to say. A force field, though, going to shut down a lot of this bio, forces it into the medevac behind, and that is going to be the signal for Trap to move on forward. Goes a little bit too far, however, can't engage into the siege tanks just yet. Very good missile turret right there, taking care of the Phoenix in front, and now the Stalker's getting one more big pickoff before they are forced back. I think Trap might overextend just a little bit too much. He is on 3 bases, so that's how he's going to be able to power this economy, but you know what, Dream just getting further and further ahead. He has all the right units in order to close this one out. And I think he knows it, as we see him going to be pushing out for the first time in this game. Scan gonna go down, revealing that the army is just pure gateway. He's got the Widow Mine set up in case he needs to retreat, but the Zealots absolutely melting. The Widow Mines aren't able to get their shots off. The Phoenix doing a lot of friendly fire with those Widow Mines as well. Good pull, but it's just not enough. The Archon doing what it can with its splash, but a good spread by Dream, gonna keep almost all of his units alive. And Trap down to only 20 army supply to the 60 of Dream, trying to hold on for those Archons to morph. But Dream just really taking this engagement on his terms. Sending a small medevac full of those Widow Mines into the natural pretty soon as well. Just going to be pulling Trap's attention away for as long as he possibly can. We do see +2 upgrades on that armor for Trap, but his big heavy-hitting unit, the Archon, doesn't actually benefit from that as much. But here we go. Force Field's going to surround. A good pickup by Dream, going to keep that alive. But Trap not paying attention at the very last second. Pulls away. There you go. Being very careful. Denying a lot of mining time there in the natural. We do see Dream sort of backing off for the meantime. But he's just ready and willing to pounce. Only one shield battery has enough energy to be worth it in this fight. I'm impressed by the restraint by Trap not to drop that shield battery overcharge, but I think, yeah, he doesn't really have a lot here. Phoenix trying to come in, and as that last couple of Archons falls, he finally pops that overcharge, but Dream just gets right out of range. Cleans up the Zealots in the front, the charge, forcing it back for as long as possible, but they keep, yeah, no. The big parade push coming over. That is going to be it. Dream takes his team up to match point in this best of 5. GG is called. So now it comes down to a TVT. The last effort for Kim Chi-won is going to have to go for the Dorito, which you got to spam to help out Juanito.